I want to bring out Robby with Animoca Brands. They have an incredible story, and they've made a profound impact in this industry, and specific, of course, to the things happening in gaming and beyond. Robby, please come and share with us the state of the NFT space in 2022. Everybody, give Robby a hand. Thank you for being here.
Hi, everyone. Actually, I think I might sit. Thank you, everyone. Good afternoon, and thank you for staying so late. I appreciate it. Just a little bit of background quickly on us and what we do. So, Animoca Brands, we are headquartered in Hong Kong. We're a global mobile games business. We have studios all over the world, and we've been focused on the blockchain game space since the end of 2017, when we first worked with our friends at Dapper Labs on CryptoKitties, which we published in Greater China. So we've been in the space for a very long time. We also have a relatively large footprint in the area of investing, so we make a lot of strategic investments off our balance sheet. We now have a portfolio of around 340 investments in the space, so we're actually one of the most active investors in the space. And we're very pleased, to be working with companies all across the spectrum. So not only do we work in games, we work in everything regarding culture and Web3. So that includes music, art, fashion, etc. Not because we want to necessarily be everywhere, so to speak, but because it all has a relationship in the Web3 context. We believe very strongly in network effects between different kinds of products and applications, and really building rich consumer experiences, because in Web3 we have the potential to bring consumers on journeys through not just our products, but the products that our friends in the industry are making as well, as part of their overall experience of enjoying brands or games, or whether they're fans of cars or fashion or whatever it is, and to be able to work together with all our friends in the industry to bring rich experiences like this is really exciting. So I was thinking a lot about what I would say today. They ask you to come up with these topics months and months in advance, and coming up with a topic for a discussion like this in our industry 6 months in advance is very hard. Because I'm like, well, how do I know what the world will be like 6 months from now? I have no idea. And lo and behold, I'm not sure I predicted exactly what the world would be like now 6 months ago. But I was going to start out talking about, I thought, well, the overall crypto markets are difficult. We're looking at a recession. Macroeconomic environment is looking very difficult. So maybe I'll talk about, when I started my career in startups in the late 90s in Asia, it was at the sort of height of the Asian financial crisis. So I started a web development company, and then 3 years later, when we shut it because the dot-com crash happened, that was my second market cycle, and then built more startups, and eventually had enough success, so we were planning to do an IPO in America with my next company, and we filed our paperwork with the SEC in September of 2008. And so then we had another market cycle, and it took about 4 or 5 years to work that business out and get to an exit. So we've been through many cycles, and obviously in our industry we had one recently in 2018 and 2019. And so I was going to talk about all these cycles and about resilience, and how some of the greatest businesses I've seen, really spent these periods of time just focused on building and innovation, and how sometimes it's nice not to have the distraction of the bubbliness of the market and the pressure of fundraising and valuations and all this stuff, and just focus on building product. So I had this sort of big spiel planned about trying to give a pep talk to everybody and make them feel better about things, honestly. And then I got to New York 2 days ago. And yesterday we had a bit of an event. It was supposed to be an internal company event yesterday afternoon. This is a daytime event. It's not a rave at night or a party or anything. This is a 2 o'clock in the afternoon event for our own staff, our own subsidiaries, and our own investees, so everybody can meet, because so many people still haven't met in person because of the pandemic. And particularly we had a lot of colleagues come from Asia. Hong Kong has been largely closed for the last 9 months. And so we had this internal event, and we got RSVPs from 250 people across our ecosystem of investees and such. 700 people showed up. And it was all business. It was not partying or drinking or anything, all business. But I tell you, the vibe and the atmosphere was electric. People are excited, people are building, people want to talk your ear off about how great their products are, about how they're connecting with customers, about how they signed the latest IP. I mean, I looked around and it was like tongue-in-cheek. I said, hey, does anybody know there's a recession on? Like, seriously, because the energy that I feel from our community is really contagious. And I think that, if anything, it threw a spanner in the works of what I was going to say today, because frankly, I don't think anybody in Web3 needs cheering up. Despite the crypto market contagion, so to speak, I think it's just another thing that we will shrug off and move on and build and continue to innovate, because that's what we do. So, with all the best intentions of trying to come out here and hold your hands through the latest downturn and cycle, I think I'm really pleased to report that the state of the Metaverse, which was my generic title 6 months in advance, the state of the Metaverse and Web3 is very much healthy and alive. And personally, I've actually spent a lot of time over the last month or so, going to meetings and connecting with companies outside my space, because we do a lot of stuff in this industry, and often, we meet people and they ask our advice about Web3 because they know we do a lot of stuff in Web3. And so I've had many discussions, I have to say, now with people in relatively senior positions at traditional industrial companies, whether it's manufacturing companies or banks or insurance companies, retail and food service or what have you, who just want to know what's Web3, what's this thing going to do for my business, what can I do with it, what does it mean? Should I be thinking about the Metaverse? Do I need to have an NFT what is it? They just want to know. And for me, that curiosity is a fantastic sign, right? It means that we've gotten on the radar of the rest of the traditional industry outside of our tech bubble and our sub-bubble of Web3. And I think that's probably the best sign for our industry, because these are also the kind of companies that they read about the crypto markets as a side note in the newspaper, but honestly, it's not on their agenda. It's not something talked about frequently like it is on our internal Slack channels, for example. And they're just thinking about how they carry their businesses forward and what a great medium this is, potentially, with which to engage their customers, reach out and create new relationships with brands and how they do business. And I'm more than happy to share with them some of the insights that we have from having built a variety of different products to help them think how Web3 is going to be important as they transition their businesses, from Web 1 to 2 to 3. So I think that as I look at where we are now, I'm extremely optimistic, because I feel like we're at a point now which is qualitatively different from 3 years ago, where at that point in time, I think we questioned whether our industry actually had legs, because we felt committed to a mission, but we didn't know what the future held. And now I think I can firmly say that, I know we're all headed in the right direction, and we're just, trying to figure out how long it will take to get there. So I'm very excited. I hope you all share my enthusiasm, and thank you for listening today.